Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we bring you the freshest insights to get you well-informed fast. Today, we're plunging into what I found to be a truly fascinating transformation happening in China, the world of flowers. I was genuinely surprised to learn you could now buy flowers like you're buying vegetables. Imagine snagging a beautiful hydrangea for less than 9.9 yuan, and a whole bouquet of peonies costing less than a cup of milk tea. It sounds almost unbelievable, doesn't it? Our mission today is to, break down how flowers have transformed from these luxury status symbols into accessible, everyday essentials in Chinese households. We're going to explore the massive shift in consumer mindset and, the clever industry innovations that made this possible. It's wild to think that just over a decade ago, certain flowers were so rare and expensive they were almost mythical. Let's really dig into this.
It is pretty wild.
Yeah.
And what's truly fascinating here is that this isn't just a story about falling prices or even just a new consumer trend. It's really about a fundamental change in how people connect with nature, with their homes, and even with their own self-care. It reflects a deeper cultural evolution in what people value and how they choose to express themselves in their daily lives. We'll see how this redefines what luxury means on an everyday level.
Okay, so to really set the stage, let's rewind a bit to the era of exclusivity, say, the last couple of decades. Back then, flowers weren't just pretty, they were what our sources call identity totems. Basically, visible symbols that broadcast your status or aspirations. Think back to 2013. A single stem of an Ecuador rose could set you back 80 yuan, and it was considered love-hard currency, almost like an investment. Picture Lin Na, an investment bank white-collar worker, standing at a rose counter in Shanghai's Plaza 66, eyeing an 8,888 yuan starry sky rose in a crystal box. Yeah. This wasn't just any rose. Its petals were specially treated to be a silver, galaxy-like blue-purple, iridescent under cold light. The perceived value was immense. Global direct sourcing, limited edition, grown in volcanic soil using Dutch greenhouse tech, infused with Japanese craftsmanship.
Right.
It was the ultimate statement of luxury and exclusivity.
And that aesthetic hegemony, as you called it, where a certain high-end, exclusive beauty dictated what was desirable and valuable, that really drove demand. I mean, customs data from 2013 shows Ecuador rose imports surging by a staggering 300% year on year.
300%.
Yeah, with prices indeed ranging from 80 to 150 yuan per stem. And even before that, in 2006, the Blue Enchantress, that natural blue rose developed by Japan's Suntory, was the talk of the town, selling for like 120 to 170 yuan a stem.
Just incredible sums.
And in 2012, you had imported Dutch A-grade standard lilies, 3 times the price of domestic ones, yet high-end clients couldn't get enough of them.
It even led to something called flower futures in places like Guangzhou's Fangchun Flower Market. Imagine speculating on flower bulb prices, almost like commodities. Our sources show Dutch tulip bulb pre-sales, where a single bulb's price could surge by 400% in just 2 weeks leading up to Valentine's Day.
Wow.
It really underscored how this was an exclusive high-stakes market, didn't it?
Absolutely. And that kind of luxury-driven consumption, well, it wasn't accessible to everyone, not by a long shot. In fact, in 2012, around 78% of imported flower consumption was for gifting.
Gifting, right.
Which begs the important question, who exactly was this market truly serving? Clearly, it was a very niche, high-end luxury segment, far removed from daily life for most people. But then, something shifted dramatically. We saw the emergence of what's now being called people's superflowers. So while those imported high-end blooms were still, doing their thing, urban households began to embrace a different kind of floral system for their living rooms. We're talking flowers like lilies, carnations, Medinea magnifica, King Protea, amaryllis, hydrangeas, and peonies.
Now, many of these still aren't dirt cheap, but they are certainly far more widely embraced by the urban middle class.
So what makes these superflowers? Well, they often share a few key characteristics. First, they tend to have a really strong visual impact. Think of the King Protea with its impressive 30-centimeter diameter.
Huge.
Or the Medinea's hanging bracts that truly resemble traditional palace lanterns. Just very eye-catching.
Okay.
Second, there's often effective story marketing behind them. Amaryllis, for example, is promoted as a never-fading tech flower.
Ah, the tech flower.
Right, while the King Protea is branded as the South African national flower and described as never wilting.
Okay, so a good story.
A good story. Third, they have clear consumption scenarios, like the Medinea being positioned as the living room C-spot flower, the central eye-catching centerpiece.
And the main event.
Exactly. Or Amaryllis as a New Year gift. Very specific uses. And finally, they often come with a health narrative or auspicious meaning. Hydrangeas signifying wealth and reunion, or peonies representing noble elegance.
It's almost like the superfruits phenomenon we saw, with avocados and cherries.
Precisely.
Where the narrative shifted from just eating for health to cultivating a certain lifestyle. For these superflowers, it seems it's not just about botanical beauty, it's about cultivating a kind of personal style or home aesthetic. And this next bit, this really highlights the transformation. Remember Lin Na from Shanghai, who bought that incredibly expensive rose back in 2013. Now in her 40s, she looks back at that splurging and finds it almost unbelievable. Like, did I really do that?
Right.
Her current practice is what she calls delicate budgeting. Every Friday, she buys a random colored hydrangea for under 15 yuan from an e-commerce app.
Just 15 yuan.
Yeah. For her, it's a ritual switch, marking the end of the work week and the start of the weekend. She even said, that joy on Monday morning seeing fresh flowers on my desk is comparable to the first sip of iced Americano.
I think a lot of people can relate to that feeling.
Totally. Maybe without the investment banking KPIs, those key performance indicators, but yeah, the feeling.
And this Monday flower phenomenon is actually quite widespread among young white-collar workers in Tier 1 cities. It highlights a really significant shift. Flowers are no longer just a luxury for specific occasions. Instead, people are prioritizing the immediate emotional value they provide. A survey by Hema, that's a prominent supermarket chain, found that for daily flowers priced between 30 and 60 yuan, mood adjustment was the primary purchasing motive.
Mood adjustment.
For 63% of consumers, far surpassing holiday gifting, which only accounted for 29%.
Wow, that's a big difference.
It is. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, this isn't just about flowers. It's a powerful microcosm of a larger societal shift we're seeing. Consumers globally are prioritizing inner well-being and personal rituals over, say, external validation or grand gestures. It's a fundamental redefinition of luxury itself, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. Lin Na herself summarized it perfectly. Flowers are now a controllable, low-cost, emotional anchor.
And you can see the tangible impact of this shift everywhere. Traditional hydrangeas that used to sell for dozens of yuan now retail for just 9.9 yuan at Hema.
9.9.
And they sold 2 million stems in a single summer.
2 million?
Yeah. And on Douyin's e-commerce platform, peonies have become the Mayflower goddess. They saw 160,000 orders for the Blue Fuji variety during the 520 Shopping Festival in 2025. That's May 20th, a date that sounds like I love you in Chinese.
Right, a huge day for romantic purchases.
Exactly. So this dramatic lowering of the price barrier has transformed the perception of flowers from a light luxury to an easy and accessible daily consumption item.
And this expansion isn't just limited to the big cities either. Take Wang Lixia, a 35-year-old housewife in Jiangxi Gansu County. She practices what she calls affordable alternative philosophy.
Interesting term.
Isn't it? Mixing a 1,000 yuan black phoenix philodendron with a 17 yuan syngonium on her balcony. She noted that just 3 years ago, county flower shops only sold plastic flowers.
Plastic flowers, yeah.
But now even older generations in her area are embracing fresh-cut flowers weekly. It certainly sounds as widespread democratization, but are there still segments where the luxury flower market thrives, or has that been entirely disrupted by the people's superflowers?
That's a great question. And, well, the luxury segment hasn't completely vanished. There will always be a market for ultra-high-end, bespoke, floral arrangements,
Sure.
But its market share has certainly shrunk significantly. The data from Meituan confirms this democratization you mentioned. In 2024, flower transactions in Tier 5 cities increased by 24.6%.
Wow, in Tier 5.
Yes. And cities in Tier 3 and below now contribute over a third of the entire market share. This truly signifies how widespread and embedded flower consumption has become, moving from an exclusive item to an everyday delight across the country.
We've seen similar plant trends evolve over time too, haven't we? Succulents had their peak from, 2015 to 2018?
They were everywhere.
The Nordic-style green plants like fiddle-leaf figs were all the rage from 2019 to 2021.
Right, the minimalist look.
The pandemic sparked a boom in home gardening with things like those wax-sealed amaryllis bulbs.
Yeah, easy to grow.
And then post-2022, we saw the surge of these flowering superflowers like Medenia and King Protea. Prized for being low maintenance, they bloom for half a year.
It's a very consistent trajectory, isn't it? Mirroring the superfoods phenomenon we mentioned earlier. They all seem to start with a niche appeal, Social media amplified their perceived rarity or benefits. And then merchants stepped in to make them lazy-friendly and affordable, lowering the entry barrier for mass adoption. It's kind of a blueprint for modern consumer trends.
So, okay, the big question. How did the industry manage this incredible transformation? How did flowers go from being a luxury item with sometimes up to a 10 times markup to an affordable daily essential? It wasn't magic. Our sources point to two powerful revolutions in the industry itself.
Absolutely. The first revolution is order agriculture. Let's take Ren Fu-kun again, that hydrangea grower in Yunnan's Yuxi. Before 2019, his noble flowers were expensive, typically 30 to 50 yuan per stem, mostly going to weddings.
Right.
This was essentially gambling production. Growers would plant based on intuition or past trends, hoping for high prices, but facing huge risks if demand shifted or a crop failed.
A bit of a gamble.
A big gamble. But after partnering with supermarkets like Hema in 2021 through an order agriculture model, his prices dropped to 9.9 yuan. Here's the critical part. His sales skyrocketed by 20 times.
20 times?
Yes. This shifted the entire process from that speculative gambling production to precise supply-demand matching. Supermarkets now lock in capacity with farmers 6 months in advance.
6 months, wow.
Giving growers like Ren Fu-kun a reported 50% income increase and ensuring stable, low prices for consumers. In fact, the China Flower Association has reported that flower bases using order agriculture see average revenues about 47% higher than traditional models, with product loss rates dropping below 3%.
That sounds incredibly efficient and definitely good for growers, but does this shift to mass planned production potentially diminish the perceived artistry or, unique charm of flowers for some consumers? Is there a trade-off for that affordability?
That's a really insightful point. And I think for the high-volume, everyday consumer, the focus is clearly on accessibility and that immediate emotional uplift. The perceived value shifts from rare artistry to reliable, beautiful convenience. So while some artisanal florists might feel a pinch, the overall market expansion means more people are engaging with fresh flowers than ever before, which, ultimately supports the industry broadly.
Okay.
It's perhaps more of a resegmentation rather than a complete replacement.
That makes sense. So what was the second revolution?
The second revolution is instant retail. This has fundamentally changed how flowers are distributed and purchased. Traditionally, pre-ordering flowers took, 3 to 5 days?
Yeah, a bit of a wait.
Which created a high psychological cost for consumers. The mental effort and foresight felt disproportionate for what they wanted to be an easy, everyday purchase.
Right. Too much planning for a simple pleasure.
Exactly. Instant retail, often through apps, has brought flowers into an hourly impulse consumption model.
And the Meituan flash purchase data perfectly illustrates this. In 2024, flower transaction value grew by 15.7%, with a massive 70% of orders being impulse purchases.
70%.
Yeah. So what does this all mean? Flowers are becoming less of a planned purchase and more a daily pick-me-up, something you grab on a whim, just like a coffee.
And furthermore, the value reconstruction of these superflowers is fascinating. They're moving beyond just mere aesthetics to becoming emotional carriers of cultural identity, almost like a brand. You see what's called user co-creation in action here? That's where consumers directly participate in developing or naming products. Hema Garden's Jujuzi hydrangea, for example, apparently got its name directly from consumer voting.
Oh, interesting.
Or the 35-centimeter super large sea blue hydrangea, developed based on user demand for exceptionally large flower heads, which sold out instantly upon release.
So people asked for bigger flowers, and they made them.
Pretty much. This isn't just selling flower material anymore. It's a significant shift towards selling a lifestyle IP, an intellectual property built around a desirable way of living.
So it's less about the flower's specific botanical qualities and maybe more about the narrative, the aspiration it embodies. What does this mean for other industries? Are we seeing a universal pivot from selling products to selling identities or experiences?
Oh, absolutely. This trend extends far beyond flowers. We see it in fashion, home decor, even food. Brands are increasingly focusing on the story, the community, and the personal identity associated with their products. It's about creating a holistic experience that resonates deeply with the consumer's values and aspirations.
Right. Of course, when 9.9 yuan hydrangeas become a common sight, there's always the challenge of, say, potential environmental pressure from price wars.
True.
But you mentioned the industry is already pushing for greener solutions.
Yes, there's definitely a growing awareness and effort towards sustainability. Things like water usage, packaging, and transport logistics are being looked at.
Yeah,
And looking ahead, the next battlefield for superflowers seems to be personalization and customization. AI technology is rapidly infiltrating the supply chain here. For instance, e-commerce platforms now have AI bouquet designers that can match user preferences, apparently leading to a 28% increase in average order value.
28% just from AI matching.
That's what the data suggests. And platforms like Wajine have developed AI flower designers that can generate tens of thousands of combination options, dropping the customization threshold from maybe 300 yuan down to just 50 yuan.
That's fantastic for consumer choice and accessibility. But
Yeah.
what about the role of the traditional florist? The human artistry in bouquet design? Does AI enhancement risk eroding that traditional craft?
That's a valid concern and something the industry is grappling with. I think what we're likely seeing is a redefinition of the florist's role. Instead of being solely focused on mass production or even basic arrangements, their expertise might pivot towards truly bespoke, high-end designs that AI perhaps can't replicate. Or maybe working with AI to refine custom orders, adding that human touch. It could potentially elevate the craft rather than diminish it, allowing human creativity to focus on the truly unique and complex.
Interesting. So augmenting rather than replacing.
Potentially, yes.
This really feels like just the beginning, doesn't it?
Oh, definitely. The superflower war has just begun. In China's, 220 billion yuan flower market.
Huge market.
Massive.
Yeah.
Which really raises an important final thought for you, our listener. As technology makes personalization more accessible and refines our ability to express ourselves through these everyday luxuries, how will this continue to redefine our emotional connection to the plants in our lives? And maybe more broadly, what societal shifts might follow from this ongoing democratization of beauty?